Conservative new media viewers, Jeremy Lin fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFE Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and we're here to discuss Brooklyn's 137-112 loss tonight to the Houston Rockets in Brooklyn, New York City. Houston improves to 32-11 on the season. Brooklyn falls to 8-32 on the year. Brooklyn has lost 10 in a row and 15 of their last 16 games. Of course, Jeremy Lin is not playing yet as he still heals up his hamstring injury. However, tonight was Jeremy Lin Bobblehead Night. I know at least one person we know from Twitter was going to the game tonight, and actually I know somebody else whose niece was going, and they were going to get a doll as well. So hopefully everybody had fun. This was an exciting game, particularly in the first half. It was very high scoring. It was up and down exactly as we figured it would be. Brook Lopez also sat out this game, so Jeremy and Brook both missed a game. Brooklyn missing two of their starters tonight. Obviously, that didn't help. And before the game, Mike DAntoni was interviewed, and he was talking about Jeremy and said, really enjoyed the period of time in New York together during Linsanity, and he said that couldn't have happened to a nicer person. Basically, he was just really pumping up Jeremy, and he was saying just coaching's worthwhile because of people like Jeremy and events like Linsanity. So it's really nice. Obviously, Jeremy and Coach DAntoni get along great, and it was great to hear Mike DAntoni say those things. And as we've noted before, we're really happy for Mike DAntoni that he's having a chance to coach again, and he's being so successful. We thought that he got a raw deal in both New York and Los Angeles, and now on a team with the right mentality and the right kind of talent, he's showing exactly how good his system is once again, in case anybody didn't understand how good it was after or in Phoenix and after Phoenix. And look, credit to James Harden, credit to the Rockets. They are incredibly good, and they're going to be difficult to beat. Even in the playoffs, when the game slows down and depth is less important, this is still going to be a difficult team to beat, particularly if they're healthy. And they might even make another move or two to get even more depth. This is a really, really strong team. And I still get the sense that there are a lot of people who don't fully buy into how good Houston is, but they're exceptionally good. And anybody is going to have a hard time outscoring them. And that includes the Warriors. It includes everybody in either conference. So do not count these guys out. They are incredibly talented, and they are very, very difficult to stop. So I can't wait to see how they do in the playoffs, because I just hope they're healthy, because they're going to be a force. And of course, we saw tonight James Harden, Patrick Beverley, P-Bev, and some of the other old Rockets that Jeremy played alongside with. So that was pretty cool. What happened in the game was Brooklyn was able to stay in this game going into halftime. They were only down by 8 points at the half, and it was extremely high-scoring first half, 74-66. So Brooklyn was hanging right there. They even hung around in the third quarter, although at the end of the third quarter they were down by 14 points, but they were still within striking distance. However, in the fourth quarter, the same way that has happened in the previous two games against the Pelicans and then against the Raptors, Brooklyn couldn't keep the momentum. They just weren't able to stay up with it, and just the other team pulled away. Look, as we said, Brooklyn's a young team. Their rookie coach, a bunch of new players. It's just difficult. And especially against a team this good, whose offense is this powerful. Brooklyn's weakness, or there's several weaknesses, but the core weakness is their defense. And Houston was just able to exploit that, and they just kind of wore them down, and that's pretty much what happened. The two teams combined to take 88 three-point attempts. That ties an NBA record with, I believe, two other games that occurred in the past. I think it was Houston and Golden State, and I do not remember the other matchup. But so tonight a record was tied in NBA history. Houston, unfortunately for the Nets, got the better of that. They hit 21 three-pointers, whereas the Nets hit only 15. And otherwise, statistically, the Rockets out-rebounded the Nets. They out-assisted them, although the Nets did have 29 assists, which is pretty darn good. However, the assist-to-turnover ratio was 29-16 for the Nets, and it was 30-13 for Houston. So one more assist, 3 fewer turnovers for Houston. They were just more efficient. They also got to the free throw line more than did the Nets, and it just kind of all accumulated, and that's how we got the defeat for the Nets. Houston was led by MVP candidate James Harden, 22 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. I believe this was his 12th triple-double of the season, which trails only Russell Westbrook of the Oklahoma City Thunder, who was also an MVP candidate. Look, whatever anybody thinks about James Harden, and we've had plenty to say about him in the past, and he's never been a favorite among Jeremy Lin fans. He's having an incredible year, and all credit for that goes to Mike D'Antoni for making James the full-time point guard for Houston. And of course, credit must also be given to James Harden himself for having the ability to do it, and for buying into the system. As we know, in New York and in Los Angeles, for Mike D'Antoni, the stars on those teams didn't necessarily buy into D'Antoni's system, and so it didn't work. But now, with Harden and the rest of the team buying in, it's working, and working exceptionally well. Eric Gordon off the bench, 24 points. He's having an incredible year. They showed a statistic during the game on the Nets broadcast. Eric Gordon has, coming into the game, has 148 made three-pointers on the season. He's second in the league behind only Steph Curry, and he's only behind him by 2 or 3 made three-pointers. You would never think that. I mean, he's having a great year, but you still wouldn't think he had that many three-pointers. But this is the perfect offense for him. It really is. And as long as he can stay healthy, which has been a problem for him in the past, it doesn't get any better than this. You have Harden, you have Ryan Anderson, Eric Gordon. I mean, this is the offense that's made for these guys. Then you throw in guys like Montrezl Harrell, Clint Capella, who's out right now, Sam Decker, P-Bev, Trevor Ariza. It works perfectly. The pieces really fit well. And this team's going to be a force into the near future, provided that they're healthy. And honestly, they're only going to get better, in my opinion. They're not too old, although Trevor Ariza might be getting up there a little bit, but nobody else on the team is really that old. So this is year one. And, we know that General Manager Daryl Morey will make deals. So this could be the start of a very serious little dynastic period for the Houston. And it's amazing to watch. It really is. And like I said, I'm very happy for Coach D'Antoni, and for the rest of the guys. Good for them. That's really about it to say about this game. Look, it's just Houston, the Nets just can't hang in this type of a shootout, particularly because of Brooklyn's defense. It just doesn't hold up quite well enough in this type of a situation. So let's talk about the next game coming up. That game will be 2 days from now, Tuesday, January 17th, here in the United States, and it will be a rematch of the last game, which is against the Toronto Raptors. This time the game will be in New York City, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States. You can watch it on Yes Network or on NBA League Pass. Look, we know how well Brooklyn played against Toronto for 3/4 of that game. Really hoping that we can see something like that once again on Tuesday night. Toronto is a better team than Brooklyn. They have a powerful offense like the Rockets do. The difference is Houston shoots more three-pointers and their pace is quicker than the pace of the Raptors. But hopefully the Nets can come out and just put out the effort and see what you can get. I also should say this in watching this game. The Nets actually looked pretty darn good without Brook Lopez playing. No offense to Brook, but you can see that they're able to play faster and more fluidly without Brook. Even though Brook is capable of hitting three-pointers, which this system favors, he's not as sleek and mobile and agile as you might want for somebody playing center. Justin Hamilton fits this system really, really well. And he had a nice night tonight. He actually had a pretty good night himself. He got the start, 12 points, but he looked good in this system. He looked good as a starter. Brook Lopez is a better player than Justin Hamilton is. There's no question about that. But Justin Hamilton might fit this system better than Brook Lopez does, and he's also a much less expensive player than Brook Lopez is. So watching this game tonight, it really figured like, yeah, you can see why Brooklyn might want to or be willing to part ways with Brook. Nothing against Brook. Seems like a great guy, but in terms of fit for the system, he might not be the best thing for this particular offense that we're running. So just wanted to add that in. Okay, that's all I have to say for tonight. Hope you're having a great night or great day yourself, wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative New Media. Once again, I am PFE Paul F. Villarreal, and we at CNM strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. Looking forward to the game coming up on Tuesday. The Nets desperately need a win. I still stand by my prediction or my thinking that Jeremy might return to practice in 7 to 10 days or something around there. Hopefully he'll be back relatively soon. But as we said before, I'm okay with him taking as much time as he needs because he should be 100% healthy before he returns. There's just no reason to rush him back given the circumstances of how the season is right now. So we want to see him back, but we want to see him back feeling good and healthy, and hopefully he'll be able to stay healthy for the second half of the season. So we will talk to you again in about 48 hours as the Brooklyn Nets host the Toronto Raptors, and they seek to, I don't know, get revenge is the right word, but just get a win. Try to get a victory, although it's going to be difficult. Toronto will be favored, and the Raptors are one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the league, as are the Rockets. So the schedule right now isn't exactly doing Brooklyn any favors. Still, we know that the Brooklyn can compete with Toronto. They showed that the other night. Hopefully, that's the kind of effort we will see coming up on Tuesday night.